Materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood in Greece, appears to Claudius and Julius on Tiber near Rome, appears to the priests in the Egyptian temple at Heliopolis. We will be coming from Ayat 35. In flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the Holy Breath, will raise the substance of the body to higher tones. Gratitude to our National Assistant Grand Chief for opening up the way according to law. And also gratitude to our National Grand Secretary of the State of Indiana, Dr. Sa Nasinu L, for taking registration and also reading our chapter of the week. Moorish can kindly check your emails and also keep your pens and papers on hand. At this time, I'll call to the floor our host instructor, our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Shedo Aminti and Moheja Shepsuel. Islam, Grand Man.
Okay.
Unmuted.
Islamism, can you hear me, sis?
Clear as a bell. Gratitude.
Gratitude, Islam. We've been here, there, and everywhere. We on the manifesto. Praise be to Allah. So, Islam. Well, let us rise upon the seven and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We want to give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to everything it is that our holy prophet brought to us, to make us a nation. Praise be to Allah for sending Prophet Noble Drew Ali and making us all free. Islamism. I want to welcome you Moors to another Moorish Perspectives. And I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Amohadi Shabazz El. And my ancient committee and high name being the same as Dr. Shedo Minti El Muhajjid Shepsuel. And as you always know, more, we always love to bring our family grand drawings of elevation, something that will elate us in our consciousness, elevate us and uplift us in every way that we could possibly fathom, so to speak, when it comes to dealing with the truth. These lessons don't never get old. They never get old to the Moorish American Muslim, because every time we come through these special works, there is indeed another paradigm shift. Praise be to Allah for that. And so it's no strange reason of happenings as to why we are here to demonstrate, because this here, man, all I know is that anybody else that haven't had these particular lessons, a lot of people are most definitely lost along the way. So praise be to Allah, that we are able to come into this clear conception of the work that we have been called to do. Because it hadn't been for Prophet Noble Drew Ali, then we wouldn't know what true freedom is. Some of our people think they know what freedom is, but they don't know, they don't have a clue of what freedom is until they have been exposed to this teaching. We don't say this because we are Moorish and everybody else ain't. That's not what we're saying. We are saying this because most of our people really don't have a knowledge of what it means to be free. If you ain't never seen freedom, then how you gonna know what it looked like unless somebody had to get free, and then therefore they can proclaim to you what true freedom is. Our holy prophet himself was found in the same state that we was found in, and regardless of where he may have been located, as far as locality is concerned, North Carolina. But yet when we look at us, we all came up under those same conditions. So being that we came up under those same conditions, we're not here to merely just talk to you about it and browbeat you over the head with the truth, or bully pulpit preach you to death. We are here because we are here to exhume a nation. We are here to exhume the body. Because in the flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. We're going to say that again. In the flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. Now, when we say man, y'all already know we got to reiterate it and use that hammer of repetition. We're not speaking of a masculine specimen, so to speak. When we say man, in most cases, if you know anything about history, historicity, or if you deal with it from a biblical or Quranic standpoint, the man represented the nation. In other words, if it was the nation of Israel, and there was a particular one who bore the name of the nation, but both men and women came up under the nation, right? If it was dealing with a nation that came through the lineage of Ishmael, but they referred to them as Ishmaelites. So whether they were men or women, they were all referred to as Ishmaelites. I'm just giving it to you from that aspect. If you speak of man in general, or humanity in general, you're not just speaking of a masculine gender. The women are automatically there. In fact, you couldn't even have the men without the women. And we know that the lineage of the man is traced through the mitochondria. But yet and still, even the seed in which the man plants within the womb, that which allows it to be active is mitochondria. But yet that is still, the extension coming through the line of the great mother, as there was a union between the great father, so to speak. After one is cast, the husbandman, so to speak, has cast his seed within the soil of soul that one may grow apace. And a lot of people don't know, when you do this, being that the soul itself also has the ability to change, the soul and its characteristics often grow with the body, unbeknownst to many of our people. The more dependent you become upon the holy breath, the more you are able to govern the actions of your soul. The less that you are able to govern the actions of your soul, the less you are in tune with holy breath. And that's why holy breath is so important when we deal with this special subject matter that we're talking about tonight. Not in a spooky way. We know that if we go into the scientific happenings or scientific function of the body, we know for a fact that cellular respiration is what sustains the cells. The cells don't need a physical breath to breathe. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think that we are living off of the air that we breathe as we take inhale and we exhale. You see, they think that is life, but at the cellular level, you got to study this, family, scientifically connected to divinity, because we know that's the only thing that could have to cause this to be. Cellular respiration is what allows the restoration of the cells by holy breath. You see? What do you mean? When you say respiration, you're dealing with some type of breathing, right? So if it's not the breathing that you do, then it must be a different type of breath that's sustaining these cells. And again, that is holy breath. So that's why we say in the flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. So now we just remove one mystery then. In the flesh of man is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. Now you hear people all the time saying they give praises to Allah, but we don't recognize that we give praises to Allah and man. We give praises to Allah, as the divine essence of mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom. And this is why we call him again the Lord of all the worlds. So man himself being a microcosmic world of the macrocosmic world, within the flesh of man is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. So where we have become mentally dead, where we have become spiritually dead, often leading in most cases to a physical death. In the essence of arm, leg, arm, head, in the essence of flesh, flesh divine is what we become when we raise to a higher tone, right? In the flesh, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. It's not the master of the house more honorable than its walls. You see, so we going outside of any type of, if you can't tolerate this family, it's something clearly wrong with you, especially if you claim to believe in African spirituality. Because I don't know about nobody else, but when you go into the teaching of our ancestors, no matter where you go on the mother continent, they all believed in life after death, meaning life after the physical demise, life after the disintegration of the body. In other words, in all actuality, there is no death. So why do you fear the unknown? Since we know so much, because most of our people feel like they know so much, you can't tell them nothing. But when it comes to this special subject, they would rather deny that, something exists after. They'd rather deny, all the way up to the point to where they get to the door of what we call death. And then all of a sudden, now they got to deal with the reality. And next thing you know, woe me, woe me, woe me. When death is not an enemy to man, but a friend. But in this case, we can see this not only from a symbolical, metaphorical, metaphysical, esoteric degree, but we can also see this as it has to do with our people as a nation. In the flesh of the Moorish American National, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead, and that essence that is within the Moorish American National is where the responsibility, so to speak, lies, because that's the God in you. You are obligated to the God in you, not the God outside of self, God in somebody else. You are obligated to the God in you, where it relates to being one who is raised from a state of being dead into being living. Like I say all the time, people think that this is something that is a miracle because this is all about somebody dying, on a cross. This is all about somebody died in another way. And then next thing you know, this made them the God because they was able to raise the dead or be raised from the dead. But what about the miracle of us being raised from the dead? After 400 some years of odd slavery, being, basically somebody else's property. You don't believe you have the ability to raise the dead? See, we're not laying the burden of responsibility on one man. Oh, this man raised me from the dead, or that man, and then next thing you know, you done turn him into a messiah or deity. No. Before you can raise somebody else from the dead, you got to demonstrate that particular science in relation to dealing with yourself. You got to have some holy breath in you. If not, then how can you breathe upon the plant substances like the great God Allah did in the beginning of creation and wake some up? See, every time we come up here, we most definitely gonna move that spooky degree out your consciousness. So we're not looking for somebody to come raise us because we already awakened. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he's already raised the people that were necessary to be raised in order for our people to be raised. And he did that from the plane of soul. And we always have to emphasize that's why you got a Moorish American government. because he's still working from the plane of soul. So each and every one of us here are doctors of divinity. We didn't need no stethoscopes and all types of medical apparatuses in order to deal with this process of raising our people from the dead. All we had to have was knowledge of the truth. And knowledge of the truth is consciousness. So this is the consciousness of your own divinity, a consciousness of holy breath, the same thing that was demonstrated in ancient Kemet, in the Osirian resurrection. Osiris was said to be the first raised from the dead in ancient Kemet, thousands of years before our brother Yehoshua was considered one who came through the resurrection of the dead. So it ain't strange that even in this particular chapter, he said, well, all hail, masters of the temple of the sun. You see, all hail, ye masters of the temple of the sun. This is definitely the temple of Heliopolis. So what a better place to start than one that is in Kemet, where this teaching of resurrection was already present. You see, that's just like the consciousness being raised has to do with our divine creed. But on another level, the consciousness after we have been raised had to do with, again, us exhuming a nation. And that's the national portion in us being connected nationally and international levels, right? And this will raise us as a nation to a higher tone of vibration as well, on all levels. And this is what we call the healing of the nation. When you're able to demonstrate that, that's when you're demonstrating like a mastermind. You see? So praise be to Allah for allowing us to be here in this new era in time. All praise be to Allah for allowing us to be able to aid and assist our people. Now, we were instructed, if we go into the fullness of this special chapter that we're dealing with, chapter 41, and we actually know that our Moorish kin had a drawing already. Dealing with this chapter 41, we give honors to our chairman again for this chapter. We are able to know what it means to appear fully materialized. You see? So if we are fully materialized, then again, we well saddled and equipped for the journey along the way. We got everything we need and it takes to materialize our liberation, to materialize our freedom. You see? So now, our job and our duty is to try to reach out to the 60 million of our people. Why do we use that number 60 million? Because we often hear about the return of the ancient ones. And we know the science of reentry and what reentry represents. It represents the rebirth and the second coming of the gods. So while you have people that are looking for one individual, you see, per nation, per people, they're looking for one individual. But in all actuality, we're looking at a nation of God men and God women coming to uplift their people. And the problem is that most of our people don't know that they are the ones whom they have been awaiting. And this is why they ain't been able to get nothing done. You had the tools and the materials, and they are not bogus building material. You had them all the while to build this temple of perfection, to manifest what it is that you want to see, to be what you want to see. It's always been present among you. You were already here, but you have been so busy having a strong longing and a faith for somebody coming outside of you to aid and assist you when your extension of divinity and strength was at the end of your own arm. All the while. So you see, it says there's a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate. And this is death. So this is a necessary process. The disintegration of everything that had to do with what we dealt with in the past. All of these things have to disintegrate if we think that we were conscious then. Remember the caterpillar, and the butterfly. This is called metamorphosis. In order for a metamorphosis to take place, there has to be a disintegration of the body, even when they deal with, those creatures in the serpent ring. Those serpents have to do what? They have to shed their skin, don't they? And in most cases, we know on a high level of vibration, we're talking about that serpent power, that raw Uraeus that comes out of the forelock or the forehead of the masters or the adepts in ancient Kemet. So this is a rising of saving power. We call that the Wajet. The Wajet represents protection. So in all actuality, the protection in reference to dealing with that same serpentine power is often equated with the Kafesh or the scimitar as well. So when you are raised to a state of consciousness, now let's think about in the teachings of Hinduism or the Indus Valley civilization, you hear them talking about Kali, the goddess, of war, some people call. The goddess of retribution, some people refer to her as that. But Kali represents justice being on the manifest. So if the resurrection or raising us to a higher tone has nothing to do with justice being on the manifest and taking its course, then what are we waiting on? What are we looking for? What are we expecting? See, a lot of time freedom is right there in our present, but we don't recognize it because somebody told us that freedom was something else. Somebody told you that they can give you freedom after enslaving you. When we know good and well, if somebody enslaved you, then they did it for what they considered a good reason. So why would they go, anybody in their right mind, why would you believe that they would also free you? You see? You got to take a look into this, family. They wanted you to believe that our brother Yahushua 2,000 years ago is what we should romanticize until we leave this earth. Every time an issue come up, you're supposed to be reflecting on the fact that a man died for your sins. If he hadn't died for your sin, then you wouldn't be so, caught up into this realm of divinity. Because you definitely needed him to do that for you, even though the world's still full of sin. So we ain't going to go there. But nevertheless, that's the only time you think about resurrection. But you don't think about you having the power to demonstrate the same thing. In the flesh of you, there's the essence of the resurrection of the dead. So who have you raised from the dead? They're like, oh no, Brother Shaheed, you talking like that right now. What you trying to say? Who you think you is? Well, who do you think you are? That's what I'm asking you. You don't believe that you have the power to raise yourself to a higher state of consciousness? And if everybody around you is dead and you the only one, and that can be whether it's in the family, that can be outside of the family, dealing with our people in general, wherever you are dealing with the majority being dead and you the only one that's their consciousness, you are the elephant in the room. As they like to talk about, the elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. Anytime a so-called Negro, black, or colored man go into a function or a gathering where it's predominantly European, you the elephant in the room right there. Anytime you are a conscious Moorish American Muslim and you enter a particular place or locality and you are there and everybody else is dead as can be and you the one that have consciousness, then you consider yourself one that has been raised meaning your consciousness is more exalted than those that are around you. Only when you come into this Moorish American government, you find your equals, those who are on the level with you. You ain't gonna find that outside of this Moorish American government. Everybody is as dead as they can be, and they enjoying it, they loving it, and they think something wrong with you, and they actually think you dead. That's how you know you're really buried down there. When you think that you're in a conscious state, but in all actuality, those who are outside of where you are the dead ones. And no matter how hard you try to pull them up and raise them up out of that condition that they're in, well, you just ain't able to do it. See, this is the like of all of our people coming through the different various social clubs and organizations and different groups and cliques and so forth and so on. There was only one who came with one free national name, what we called that real master grip by which he was able to raise us up whole and intact. I don't know what they talking about. They done raised somebody with up on the other different demonstrations, but we can see the work of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We know exactly what he did. His works are on the manifest now, despite all of the attempts to basically just sweep him under the rug. So if there's a holy ministry in death, our holy prophet told us, he said, well, black according to science mean death. So a lot of people took that to be something negative. But if there's a ministry in that death, then that means it's something to be learned about the condition of being dead. So what is the ministry in death? Well, we know the spiritual death. But when we deal with the manifest, well, there's a ministry in reference to us thinking that we were black people, colored people, Negroes, Ethiopian thought pattern. See, it's a ministry in that. And if you are able to receive it, then you are raised from that death, because the essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. We got to fix something. That means that we was tore up from the floor up. That means that somebody really discombobulated our mind. They chopped and screwed us to death, so to speak, when it comes to the way that we think, so that we begin to think on a sluggish level. And we have yet to be raised from that sluggish level. And we know at every sluggish level, there's a greater devil. So all of these things must disintegrate. That Negro thought pattern, that colored thought pattern, that black thought pattern, all of them lead to the same thing. They allude to the same thing. Death. So if you come out of that, then you were raised from the dead. But did anybody try to make you a demigod after being raised from the dead? Did anybody try to make you a demigod and say, oh, he God, he died? Because surely most of us on this call have been crucified under the lie, under the crucifixion. But how many of us recognize that we are or have been resurrected? How many of us have solved the fix? How many of us can truly say that we have become an example for our people to lead them and guide them? How many of us can truly say this? There's a reason that we are called divine ministers. In other words, the divinity in us is what allows us to extract, you see, the divinity out of others. Even the word education means to bring out or to pull things out of one. So we have been given a saving power to raise our people to a grander degree of understanding. a saving power to raise up out of us up out of a state of being dependent upon somebody else to a mind state of self-determination. We have been given a saving power to give us the mindset whereas we would do everything that is need to be done for ourselves and not wait for somebody else to do it for us. That's the real aspect of dealing with resurrection. So in the flesh of you, it is your nature to come up out of a state of stagnation, because we know a stagnant pond or a stagnant pool of water represent an environment where things die. If there's stagnation and no activation, then there's no motivation. There's no elevation. There's only death. And death can only bring forth death. It takes one that is of life to bring life to those or anything that has been dead, so to speak. And we have been given these powers, but we don't believe. And that's the lowest level of vibration, to believe. We don't even believe, in ourselves. That's why we can't recognize the essence of the resurrection of the dead, or those that we have been sent here to raise. So again, we give praises to Allah and man. We give praises to Allah in the higher self. We give praises to Allah clothed, basically spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah, so to speak. We give honors, to everything that is of divinity. But there's no one outside of you that can make you be you. It takes one like you, right, to teach you to be you. It takes a Moorish American Muslim to teach a Moorish American Muslim how to be a Moorish American Muslim. And most of our people don't know the Muslim degree is the only thing about you that has been here before the physical portion of you. So the Muslim in you is the real essence of the resurrection of the dead. Because we're talking about peace in action. We're not talking about practicing peace, studying peace, nothing wrong with that, but these are just degrees of unfoldment. We're talking about living it, being peace. And some of our people are suffering because they don't have peace. That's the problem right there. They say they demonstrate Islam or Islamism, but when it comes to time to really stand up and show that they have this in them, they are found wanting. They are found lacking. This is because hypocrisy has become now the order of the day. If you say that you have the light and you are among people, and you are not able to spark the consciousness of the people to any degree, then you really have to tune up and mend the broken wires in order that you may be able to connect yourself and your people to a higher power. So that's the question we have to ask. Have we mended the broken wires? And these broken wires having to deal with that which relates to the golden cord. Do you have enough love in you? Is that love equally distributed according to the balance of divine energy so that it will not be obstructed and that it will go on, throughout the network, so to speak, of consciousness to raise other people up to the same ohms, so to speak, of consciousness. See, we ain't waiting for nobody to come outside us talking about no men and no broken wires, because we the scientists. You have to go within yourself and connect yourself to the divinity within you, your higher self. And then you can aid and assist somebody else because you've done it before. You cannot teach somebody something that you ain't demonstrated. Sure, it can sound good, it can look good, or whatever the case may be, but by the way things manifest in your life truly shows the God that you are. And when you're demonstrating the true state of being God mind, God man, God woman, sisters, brothers, it comes with ease. There is no struggle to be you. You just simply be you. You see? But yes, there is in the essence, that essence which is within the flesh of man, there is the resurrection of the dead. Like I said, this ain't no religious concept or raising somebody. We're talking about go back to Kemet. All saw in his vibration was able to raise everything to a higher tone. See, this is the real nature of a vicegerent. This is the real nature of one who is the Lord of the plane of soul and Lord of the plane of things made manifest. The first time you ever seen man referred to as, Neb, a Lord, was in the teachings of the text of ancient Kemet. You see? So it ain't strange. So where's your saving power? Where's your ability to become a light in dark places, to become that Ra, to come out of a state of being hidden into the manifest like Amun Ra, and to come forth and illuminate the darkness just as our ancestors did, and raise a nation from a people that was once seen as a savage people. Because also, if you know it or not, after he was taught through divine mind, a Tehuti, the principle of wisdom, he was able to build a nation of Kemet with that knowledge. So what are you able to do in this new era in time? What is it that you plan to build in this new era in time? Or have you even given it any thought? Or do you think that your nature is to just sit here and try to fix something or put out the fire of a burning nation? Because that's what it seems like most of our people dedicated themselves to. A waste of time and also resources, if you ask me. So we want to give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and praises to the great God Allah within us, the Moorish American Nationals, for allowing us to be here in this new era in time, allowing us to manifest in this time where it had already been prophesied that we would be here. In the flesh of every Moorish American national, did I say master of all nature? M-A-N. In the flesh, there's the essence of the resurrection of the dead. See, the master word here is essence of the resurrection of the dead. In other words, this has to be the key factor as to whether or not you will be raised to a higher tone. The essence, again, is God. All they had to do is you read it in the flesh of man is God, the resurrection of the dead. So what you gonna do? You gonna raise the dead or let them die? You gonna raise the dead amongst your people or you gonna let your people die? Let that marinate a bit. Because if you will allow them to die, then you talking about, well, you're a part of the problem. If you can't figure out the solution and demonstrate bringing forth the solution, then you part of the problem. So we already know what side of history you gonna be on when it's said and done. Because you either one that's out there healing the people or you killing the people. And you can kill the people by the way you think. Oh yeah, thoughts become contagious. And if those contagious thoughts are adapted to one's own consciousness and one adopt this demonstration, it can lead them to a state of halation or a state of elevation based on who brought it to you. So we got to stop fooling ourselves. We got to stop lying to ourselves and be the Moorish American Muslim that you was born to be. If Prophet Noble Ali didn't come to teach it, then who did? If Prophet Noble Ali didn't come to uplift you, then who did? Because surely after 100 years and him not being on the manifest, we should be further ahead based on your man or men or whoever it is that's claiming that they got the way, the truth, and the light. If that's the case, why we ain't seen it yet? See what I'm saying? Because we have came into what I would call this loop mode, scapegoat mentality, looking for another person to become a costly sacrifice. And we're going to continue doing the same thing we've been doing. Not trying to change our condition. Not looking deeper into the measure. But letting any and everything take place and falling asleep on our post. And what you think the adversary going to do when they find you sleeping on your post? See what I'm saying? So you have to ask yourself the question, have you activated the ministry? Have you solved the fix? What is it that you still holding on to? Or has that old mindset been disintegrated? You know, thinking somebody else coming to save you now. Jesus, he gonna come save you. Oh, no, better yet, Yahushua. You know what I mean? But in all actuality, we already know our people don't honor none of the God men that came to them. If a Yahushua was here right now, they'll be going in opposition to him. If Muhammad was here right now, they'll be in opposition. If a Mahdi or Messiah returned, they'll be in opposition to both of them, ready to kill them up because they don't really have a consciousness or we'll say a good reliance upon the history. Because we know a mastermind is able to go back beyond the land of fleshless things. And thus he knows. This is powerful, family, if we really reflect upon this. So this process of resurrection in ancient Kemet was a rite, ceremony, and a form that was passed down generation after generation. And we received the knowledge of that, and that's why we too are now able to cross the borderland at will. Remember, you hear me talking about the chemistry, the ministry, and the mystery now. Remember, the chemistry has to do with the physical aspect. But yet, this is where you are able to become a thought of the great God Allah made manifest in the flesh. That's if you understand what divine alchemy is. Transformation of the base self into divinity. Changing crude metals or base metals into gold. There's some gold in you, family. From that aspect, divinity. In this, we have the chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of death, and the mystery of death and life. That's your angel, cherubim, and seraphim. Right there now. And all of this right here represents, again, going back to the level of dealing with perfection and some protection. So why is there a need to know that in the flesh of man? There is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. See, we are told the same thing over and over again, family. We've been looking for somebody else outside of self, but it's right here. We got to use the hammer of repetition to make sure you get it if you didn't get it the first time. Flesh divine. So all we have to do is unfold through the great process of demonstrating the most potent saving power to ever be known to man, and that's love. Love is the salvation and saving power that come through our ancient forefathers and has reached us in this new era in time. So you didn't make love, love made you. Islam, powerful. So now that we have this knowledge, then what are we going to do? Are we going to teach this to the youth and the young so that they may learn self-determination, so that they may learn what it means to truly build and exhume a nation? You going to get this to them? Or you going to sit here on this conference call and just soak everything up and be silent and never take this stuff to your people? It sounds good when we trade this information back and forth, but have you taken it outside of the thresholds or beyond the thresholds of your door? Because you can't raise nothing if you don't go to raise something. And that don't simply mean just going out looking. You can be moving in your daily life. You can be moving just in general and raising the people, breathing on the people. You just have to know that you got it in you to be you. You got it in you to be able to demonstrate this. Because if doubt is in the consciousness, then you ain't going to be able to do too much. Man, I just say gratitude for what we have and being able to see these things from a level of unfoldment. Praise be to Allah. We don't think that we're dealing with a lawfully charter organization and that's it. It's time to take this knowledge that we have, and when we hear resurrection now, after that, we should hear self-determination. You are determined within yourself to be the nation. We here to exhume the body. So, you know what? I ain't going to even go further on and on with this drawing. I think I said enough at this point because I really want to hear from my Moorish kin out there. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up the floor on earlier than normal, and we can give our measures as we hear from the Moorish kin. So we're going to give our family room for growth. We're going to slow the ethers down a bit and pass the scimitar to the true executive rulers in Moorish America so they can put in work. Islam. Is there any more who would like to come forth and demonstrate their measure?
Islam.
Islamism without the schism. Dr. Marvin Nathaniel was based. Islam.
Gratitude, National Assistant Grand Sheik and host of this most beautiful, most powerful class, this Moorish Perspectives class. Yes, I am Dr. Marvin Elvis Bey, Consul General of the Texas Consulate, rising and giving all praises to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Al-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. Give high honors to our Act 1. I give high honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to this class, our Moorish Perspectives class, as well as I give honors to you, Dr. Shedi Wamenti Al-Mohamed Shepsuel, our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, for all that you've done, and all that you do, and all that you continue to do. We give you honors. I give honors to all those that aided in bringing forth this class this evening. And I give honors to everything that is Moorish, our divine flag, our divine emblem, our divine constitution, our Holy Quran, our Book of Ali, our 101, 102s, like Zooming of a Nation, all of our divine revelations, I give honor. I give honor to the forerunner, Dr. Marcus Mosaic Hell, as well as I give honors to the ancestors whom shoulders we stand upon. Man, this is a powerful class. The resurrection, okay, in the flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead, the essence quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. And God, man, you covered a lot of ground. You know what I mean? You did some exhuming. You know what I mean? Instantly, simultaneously, as you were speaking. You know, and I mean, I was moved. You know, when you think about it, and it really opened up my eyes. You know what I mean? You talked about the prophet. You know, we always say the prophet. Um, what was it? He mended the broken wires. Yes, and so within us, this is what we do. This is what we are called to do, to mend those broken wires that have been broken by what we went through slavery. You know what I mean? And not to bring up, you know, I mean, can't help but can't go around it, can't go past it. Got to go through it. You know, yeah. So, you know, having coming from a dead state, you know what I mean. But we're going to another state of, say, death. You know what I mean? Not calling ourselves black, because we know that black, according to science, means death. When we're talking about, um, you know, we have to say die again. That is, we have to solve the fix. You know what I mean? When we solve the fix, then the holy breath can raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. I mean, so this is what it's all about. And when we do that, then we can truly step out and reach out to our Moorish kin that don't know that they are dead, that they are asleep. You know what I mean? And so this is what the job is entails. You know what I mean? This is our mission. You know what I mean? This is the assignment. You know what I mean? The prophet brought us everything to save us as a nation, not an organization. You know, many of our people were running around in these organizations, not to bash them, but apparently they didn't get the memo. You know, we are to form a government. That's the only thing. I mean, that's why we're here. Because all of those organizations are under the jurisdiction of the United States government. So what good is that going to do us? To put us back into slavery, you know, bury us even deeper? No, the prophet came to save us as a nation. You know what I mean? And our Moorish American government is doing it. You know what I mean? I mean, and I love this Moorish American government. I mean, I try to do everything that I can to, you know, assist. You know what I mean? To look after the necessities of this Moorish American government. And I mean, I just love it, and I love my people. I mean, I love them so much that I have to sacrifice this flesh. You know what I mean? To study. You know what I mean? To continue to elevate, so that I can be of assistance. You know what I mean? You can't teach a more if you don't know what a more is, and it takes a more to teach a more how to be a more. And this is what we're doing in this Moorish American government. I mean, it's just such a beautiful thing, and there's really so much to be said. I mean, there's so much to be done. You know what I mean? So we can't wait for somebody else to, like you were saying, wait for somebody to come out the sky to do it. No, we have to do it. Each Moorish American national man, each man here in this Moorish American government has to elevate to that level of consciousness so that we can, raise the dead. And so, like I said, there's so much to be said, and I'm just so grateful for being here. You know what I mean? To be a part of this divine and national movement. This is what the prophet brought. He brought a divine and national movement. He gave us our nationality, Moorish America. He gave us our free national name, Moorish American. And he gave us our creed. You know what I mean? That Islamism. You know, and that's what it's all about. He returned us those 2/5 of the 5/5 that had been taken from us. You know what I mean? We was walking around like zombies. And I'm not trying to beat up our people. This is just the truth of the matter, the fact of the matter. But all we got to do is come together under this umbrella, this Moorish American government. And so I'm going to leave it right there, Moors. And God, man, gratitude for calling me. Islam and peace and love.
Islam. And I'm just giving honors to your brother Marvin Edwards Bay. You know, I was sitting over here, I had pulled my dictionary down. This is actually a Webster's New 20th Century Dictionary, right? Second edition. This thing here so heavy, if you drop it on somebody, it'll hurt them. That's how heavy it is. And it's got, let me see, how many pages in here? Yeah, it got about 2,000. Let me see. Yeah, about 2,100 pages in here, right? And this is a big book. And so it gives definitions on the word black in here, right? It's got pretty much about a whole page front and back where it deals with the definitions on it. And you know, most of them, they'll give you a little definition and maybe 3 or 4 more of them and move on. But I want you to listen to the definition. The first definition they give, it says black or black, which is B-L-A-K, B-L-E-K, also B-L-A-E-C, black. So you see they dealing with sound shifting and everything here. Then they went to black. Number 1, of the darkest color, the opposite of white, a surface perfectly black cannot reflect the light. So you asked to tell me if black cannot reflect the light, then what is that telling you? Now this is a surface that is perfectly black. If we go into the universe, this will be in opposition, because we know that the universe then couldn't be perfectly black, because we know that the light that is basically shines upon the surface of the moon is reflected throughout the universe. So when you hear people say, well, the universe is black, so that represents man, but it's not perfectly black. You see what I'm saying? So it can't reflect the light. And we already know when we look at our pigmentation, it's brown in most cases. You see? But if it was really perfectly black, it's saying it couldn't reflect the light. And that's a problem if we're dealing with this aspect when we talk about in the flesh of man. There's the essence of the resurrection of the dead. So we know that that which is in the essence of the flesh of man ain't got nothing to do with the melanin. We know the soul is there, but there's something, you know, that actually enters the soul, which the soul is the vehicle. Again, it's not the master of the house and more honorable than its walls. So on the second definition, it say dark in skin or complexion. Then it say black men are pearls in the beauteous ladies. This is Shakespeare. Well, ladies' eyes, right? Then it says number 3, Negro. Then number 4, destitute of light in complete darkness, in the dark. So in other words, somebody that don't have light and they in complete darkness, they black. So if somebody come with the light, then they can bring you out of that darkness. Then that's raising you to a higher state of consciousness. It also says in the twilight, in the evening, and in the black or the dark night. Number 5, figuratively, dismal, gloomy, sullen, bidding for the light, destitute of moral light, meaning it's figurative. Black is also a term that's figuratively used for somebody that's destitute of moral light. So if we go into the spiritual science, so that's why they mean black according to science mean death. But yet there's a ministry in this death now. It's something that we must learn. And the main thing we must learn is that you can't get strength from weak sources. You can't expect a ministry of life if one has not been raised from that death by the ministry of life. You can't expect one to be able to demonstrate that. So it says as it goes on, destitute of more like goodness, mournful, calamitous, evil, wicked, atrocious, and thus Shakespeare speaks of black deeds. So the same Shakespeare that act like he was trying to speak of beauty in black also spoke on the contrary, so to speak. He said black deeds, black thoughts, envy, black tidings, despair, etc. Soiled, dirty, wearing black clothing, disgraceful, without hope as a black future. Man, it goes on and on. I ain't even finished reading this stuff yet. This is just one definition now. I ain't went all down here into all these other definitions, black death and black earth, and goodness, black oak, black horse, black tea. I ain't went in all this definition here. Then it get back again and start with the definition again. What they talking about black as it relates to the darker color, the pigment of the eye, the hue produced by such as clothes, black, pupil black clothing, Negro, a person with a dark complexion. See, all of these are descriptive. Black or more, a Negro, especially an African Negro. See what I'm saying? That lets you know that that word black has some power, but it ain't got no power when it comes to our people. That black has some power to hold you in the darkness if you ain't careful. So it took somebody to come with the light to raise you up out of that state of being deaf, dumb, and blind. Easy to be led in the wrong direction, as the Quran say. Hard to be read, sunum unum bunum. Blind, deaf, and dumb. That's what it said in the Grand Quran. Now, I didn't say that, so don't think I'm trying to beat you up. The great God put this in Revelation. Blind, deaf, and dumb. Easy to be led in the wrong direction. Hard to be led in the right. Goodness gracious. Islam. We're going to go to our next Moorish king. Islam. Star 6 your phone, Moorish king. I done got turn up over here.
Islam.
Islam, Brother Muhammad Bey.
Islam and gratitude, grand man. Islam, yes, I'm Dr. Gerald Hamid Muhammad Bey of the South Carolina Consulate, Consul General of South Carolina Consul. First, let me rise in praise of our Father, God Allah, who is the best known arranger of all things, to give the highest honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is the last prophet of this new era of time now. He is the seventh manifestation in divine flesh, the seventh angel, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, always giving much love, honor, and respect to you, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, for always standing strong and firm in defense of everything that our beloved Prophet brought and taught. We honor you and we respect you and we love you, Grand Man. Gratitude for all that you do for the uplifting of our people, Islam. I give honors to Act 1 of our divine constitution and bylaws. I give honors to our Grand National Seal, our Grand National Emblem, and our Grand National Flag. I give honors to this theocratic government in which we all live and can live. I give honors to Marcus Mosiah Garvey L., the forerunner to our beloved Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And I give honors to all of our Moorish kin on this conference call and all of our visitors, Islam. I give honors to those who have spoken before me and those that will speak after me, and I give honors to everything Moorish. Grand, magnanimous demonstration, God, man. Gratitude. And I concur with my Moorish kin that spoke before me. And, as you said, the ayat, there is a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. Like the Moorish kin stated, Grand Man, you cover a lot of ground. So what I basically did as you was writing And according to, my humble state at this particular time, I wrote down what was coming to the surface from the lessons that I've been allowed to absorb. And I'm just going to read from that. Please be patient. So the first thing was, when we go to chapter 11 of our Moorish Holy Quran, and I'm just dealing with ayat number 20, because this is, to me, this is what this class represents, as all the classes do. Starting at ayat 19, it says, again, Lamas asks of understanding, what have you to say? And Yehoshua said, it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the art and of the naught, of falsehood and of truth. See, you spoke about in the ayat, it talks about the fix has to be solved. So when we go into that, even in the chapter that you're drawing this class from, when we go to, pardon myself, let me get back to where I'm supposed to be at. Excuse me, lost my spot here. 41, 30. Excuse me. Just give me a, oh man, don't do this to me. I had 40. Okay. I'm trying to find my spot here. 41, 31. Okay, and it says, excuse me, in ayat 35, it says, in the flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This is quickened by the holy breath, which raises the substance of the body to a higher tone. Now, this is really, really interesting, because now again, I'm trying to get in here and get it quickly done, because I know my other Moorish can't have to get in. Going back to chapter 11. When we go back to chapter 11, we find that starting at verse number 4, we're talking about the fix now. It says, in all the world, there are two things. The one is truth, the other is falsehood. And falsehood is that which seems to be. Now, truth is aught and has no cause, and yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is naught, and yet it is the manifest of right. Whatever has been made will be unmade. That which begins must end. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifest of aught are not, and so must pass away. So, and then it jumped down and says, the holy breath is truth, is that which was, is, and evermore shall be. It cannot change nor pass away. And you talked about that. So when we're talking about solving the fix is learning the distinction, the mastery of the understanding between truth and falsehood. And this can only be done through truth, which is the holy breath. See, and when you go to excuse me, going to the next verse, everything that I talked about here, going to chapter 35, okay, dealing with ayat 3 through 5. It says, in taking up the work that assigned for me to do, I am fully conscious of the perils of the way. The cup will be a bitter one to drink, and human nature well might shrink. But I have lost my will in that of holy breath. That's very key. See, saying we have to lose our will in holy breath. And for us as Moorish Americans, holy breath represents the truth. So we know that this truth right, sets us free. It is the means whereby the fix becomes dissolved. It becomes solved. It becomes put in order. And it goes on to say, right, but I have lost my will in that of holy breath, and so I go my way to speak and act as I am moved to speak and act by the holy breath. The words that I speak are not my own. They are the words of him whose will I do. Islam, Islam, Islam. So now we find again, when we go further off into the lessons, right, what you was talking about, in my humble understanding, again, last one, and I'm closing out there, Grand Man. I'm just trying to share what I felt like was being given to me. When you go to chapter 4 of our Moorish Holy Quran, okay, this is dealing with the ministry of death. Remember, it said that the flesh has to be disintegrated. This is not talking about physical death, right? This is talking about dying from the carnality of the 5 senses of the temple of the flesh. So in ayat number 18, it says, and so when they would make men know that sins are washed away by purity in life, a rite symbolic may be introduced. In water, wash the bodies of people who would turn away from sin and strive for purity in life. The rite of cleansing is a preparation rite, and they who thus are cleansed comprise the temple of purity. And you shall say, you men of Israel, hear, reform, wash, become the sons of purity, and you shall be forgiven. The rite of cleansing and this temple are but symbolic of the soul, as you remembered. That's what you stated, which does not come with outward show, but is the temple within. Now, you may never point the way, right? In our lessons, we must be the message that we bring. Now, you may never point the way and tell the multitude to do what you have never done, but you must go before and show the way. You are to teach that men must wash. So you must lead the way. Your body must be washed, symbolic of the cleansing of the soul. So this lesson that you're talking about, in my humble understanding, Grand Man, when you're talking about there is a holy ministry in death. See, when you say holy, we're talking about purification. And ending with the last one, Act 7 of our divine constitution of Moorish America. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their body clean with water. That love that we must keep our hearts and minds clean, pure with, is the love of the truth. This is why we are told, right, that we shall know the truth. See, to know something is to be at one with it, and that truth will make us free. Once we begin to manifest, and it comes in degrees, it's not like instant coffee, right? Once we begin to really, right, manifest these divine lessons that the prophet brought, which is the spirit of the truth, then what begins to happen is that carnality of the five senses, the lower self, begins to dissolve. Because when truth comes, anything that is not of the truth cannot remain. And eventually, as you talked about, right, may we all reach that, when we get to the fullness of the manifestation of truth, that's when it goes into the deific will, where we say we have placed our hand in the hand of our Father God Allah, and the resurrection is a fact. That means that now we have been raised up from that dead state of being a mental slave to being, right, divine will. That means that our will, the words that we speak, the actions that we do, is no longer of the self, even though it may be seen of the self. But is actually, as Yehoshua said, it is the will of our Father that we do. And this is just my humble understanding. It's all about ending and Don't be conformed to the things of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind, because everything begins with a thought. Islam and gratitude. Thanks for letting me share. Grand class.
Islam and gratitude, and thanks for sharing, brother. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. We give honors to you for that. You know, it's not strange. It's not strange, family. So Islam. All right. Is there any other Moors who would like to come forth and exercise their fire?
Islam.
Islamism.
Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Dr. Dendra Ani Kurtabe. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials, and I give honors to you, National Assistant Grand Sheikh, for this wonderful, wonderful class tonight. And you coming from our chapter of the week, such a powerful chapter, and I concur with my Moorish kin who has spoken before me. And when they say, I tell you, you covered a lot of ground, and your subject, you say there is a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. And I would just like to add, God, man, you know, especially to our Moorish kin who are here, and to our people, our new people who are out there listening. I just want to encourage you, family, if you are here, stay strong and continue to get these teachings. Because if you really want to know the truth, come on into this government, because we're going to give you the truth. Our chairman always tells us, he say, a friend will warn you. See, we a friend of yours, and we trying to warn you. We giving you the truth, and we telling you, especially the ones out there who may not know a whole lot about our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because I can witness with you, because I was just like you. I didn't know nothing about that we had a prophet. I didn't know nothing about Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but I found out when I come in this government, this Moorish American government, the only government that you can proclaim your free national name and live, the only government that you can come and live, the Moorish American government, the only government that is a divine movement of the great God Allah. And any other government out there that's claiming that they are a divine movement of the great God Allah is telling it, they're not telling you the truth. I know for a fact that this government is a divine movement of the great God Allah. And we're gonna tell you the truth here. And like the God man was saying, he say, when he was teaching, when he was talking, I thought about you. I can't raise someone from the dead until I raise myself from the dead. And what that says to me is that you can't get strength from weak sources. See, I got to be the message that I bring before I can go out there and exhume you and raise you up from the dead. So, and I encourage you, Moorish kin, and like I say, you new people who are out there, keep coming, keep listening, because we're going to give you the truth. Go to our website. We have classes here 7 days a week, 24/7. If you want to know the truth, come on home, because we're going to give you the truth. Go to our website, www.moorishamericangovernment.land. I know me on there. And get on these teachings. Come to Sunday school. Oh, you're going to learn a lot. And I tell you, and I start to say, I be having fun. And I tell my Moorish kid, I have fun, but I don't want you to think that this is a game, because freedom is not a game. When I'm here in this government, I got joy, family. It's coming all out of my being, because I'm full of joy here. I got joy deep down in my soul. I got joy in this government. And The great God Allah is the one who gave me this joy. He gave it to me, and the world can't take it away. Can't nobody take this joy from me, because I get it from the teachings of my holy prophet. Because the great God Allah is speaking through him, and he speak to man. He speak through man to us, and he speaks to our government officials in this government. So I just encourage you, Moorish Ken, come on home. If you want some joy, if you want some peace, if you want some love, if you want the truth, and if you definitely want to be set free, come on home to your Moorish American government. Islam family, we love you. We your friend. Islam.
Islam and Islamism, goddess and queen. And yeah, when you hear us speaking like this, you know, we demonstrate theocracy. And our theocracy, just like the goddess and queen was demonstrating, you know, it has nothing to do with trying to beat you over the head with religiosity. You know, we demonstrate like our ancestors did. In ancient Kemet, there was the Neter. And working under the direction of Neter was Neteru, a plurality of beings or causes working toward a common goal. And those particular causes just so happen to personify themselves in a particular people that were able to bring our people a civilization as a result of their connection to divinity. This is how we demonstrate here. We also have a theocracy. Ma'at in ancient Kemet was not a democratic, democratic pardon self or a republic government. Ma'at was a theocratic government, theocracy. That's what they were ruling according to. That's why they didn't have to say a whole lot. If you notice something about the constitutions of Africa, you know, they are mostly short and straight to the point, but they pack a powerful punch when it comes to knocking the knout out of our people. You know, that nonsense, the folly. And so this is why most of our people were able to be successful as a people. They didn't have to write a whole lot. Most of the, well, when you deal with most cases, people got to write a whole lot. They're trying to cover up something. They're trying to hide something. You know, when you deal with our divine constitution, we got 7 acts. All you got to do is live by them, and them will change your life and also the lives of those around you. Will benefit them greatly. So, yeah, that's a powerful demonstration. Is there any other more? Any other Moors left? This floor is still on. We still got plenty of time. So let us see what's in your hearts and mind. Open up the way. Islam.
Islam, Dr. Larry Daniels Ray, South Carolina Council agent. First I rise and give praise and glory to Allah, the Most High. And I give high honors to his holy and divine prophet, Elhaj Sharif Abdul Ali, the last prophet in these days and time. And I give honors to every one of our divine constitutions. And I honor you, brother, great class as always. And I honor all my brothers and sisters on my peace and blessings, peace and love. I apologize not to go over someone because I was switching over my speaker. Did I?
No, sir. All is well, brother. You all right?
Islam. Understanding the resurrection, you know, is a fact when the fix is solved, you know, and the essence of the holy breath. And you see, the prophet gave the Moors, you know, the knowledge of love, you know, and see that when we speak of something that can save man and turn man's life around, we're talking about, you know, because we understand the essence of our Creator is love. So understanding that we are love, you know, and see what the thing is, everybody been telling us, even those who are among us, you know, that, you know, we can't fault them for their ignorance, you know, but, you know, they've been telling us we black and we this and we that, and You know, they just want to keep the ball rolling, you know, and not solve anything, you know, but just keep it going. But see what the prophet is giving us. The prophet told us, say, look, Moor, you can't fight. Throw some more water on that demonstration. You know what I'm saying? Cool it down a little bit. And now the Moors understand. Because when we look at everything that has happened to us in the past and see that our people they'll do this and do that and then they go on with the same thing they've been doing. You know, there's no change. But see, the prophet brought us something that we can really, really grip onto. You know, he taught us how to resurrect that holy breath within ourselves by lining ourselves up with our God, you know, with the truth, you know, and start and understand that illusion, hate, and all these things, you know, it's an illusion, and it's, you know, it don't last. You know, those things that in the past, you know, just the more being in where we are right now on this app of gratitude and prophet got us, we can look back at our lives and say, yeah, that's 100 right there. It wasn't working. You know, so when we start to love, then we start to resurrect that holy breath within us, because that's that power. Because the prophet told us that when we start to really, really love and have that gratitude and all these things, and then we become the eyes of our Creator. We become His hands, you know, His feelings, you know, because we have that real love. You know, we know it's not going to take nothing from us to give, to do this and do that, because that's the way I see it now. I see everything as a lesson. I see everything as a message, you know, and I see, and really it's a reflection, you know, because there's always something that the Moor needs to look within himself at, if anything is not vibrating outside himself. You know, but they had us looking out there instead of looking at here, because this way is where it all starts at. And I love everything the prophet has given us. You know, I love being here on these lessons because it elevates me. It makes my life, you know, I love it when it rains and when the sun shines, because it's just, you know, it's just being here to teach, you know, you know, if it's fail in my voice, when you say myself, I'm learning so much, you know, because everything about the Lord is intelligent. And like you said, brothers, you know, isn't the master of the house more honorable than its walls? You know, so we understand what is beyond the human flesh now. And that's what lined us up with our God. When we line ourselves up with that, is we get that which is beyond the cause of eyes, the essence of it all, our God, that force. From one mother, Islam, peace and blessings.
Islam, and peace and blessings, brother, for the drawing. Islamism without the schism. All right. Is there any other Moor who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? The floor is still open.
Islam.
Islamism, goddess and queen, what have you to say?
Gratitude, God, man. This is Sister Cammy. I'm in Michigan. I rise, honor, and praise the great God Allah. I honor Prophet Noble Drew Ali, official citizens, Moors here, there, and everywhere, especially my Moorish kin. Ayah 35. In flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. I thought about that, the essence of it all. And the essence is Allah, being a god or a goddess, your God, state your higher self, that divinity that's within you will give you a soul, the part of you that does not die, the part of you that is, what word do they say? A higher tone, And I thought about when we were all dead as a nation of people, and the prophet Noble Drew Ali came and resurrected this nation with the truth that only a prophet can bring as far as saving nations from the wrath of Allah. So I thought about that type of resurrection from a dead state of mind, calling ourselves black, imitating the European, getting to the point that we're so wrapped up in that mental slavery and that denationalization to the point that we didn't know ourselves, didn't know our true identity. We didn't know we were a nation of people. We only knew that we were something wrong about our condition, and we knew that it could be better. But the prophet came in and resurrected us as a nation of people. I also thought about that the body, this essence quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. I don't know about what each God or goddess experiences when they're in meditation, which is the highest form of prayer. But there are times that I will meditate and I'll unblock those chakras, go from head to toe, and I'll pray and I'll listen to that holy breath for guidance, for peace. Some days are so difficult in that Roman world, in that illusion that I'm trapped in for at least 8 hours a day. Some days are so difficult that it drains me to the point that I need to be revived with or be resurrected from that dead environment that I put in. And I'll actually feel like I'm leaving the flesh, like like I'm at a higher, elevated state when I'm in meditation, especially on those bad days. When I meditate, sometimes I meditate for hours. I'm just laying there, getting them chakras 2-3 times, and just praying and having a conversation with Allah, that God state. So and then also the transitioning when you actually leave the flesh and you have the part of you that does not die. You just depart from the flesh and you have infinite life. Rome and that Roman ideology, I'm glad that we're away from that illusion about the transitioning or dying. When Yehoshua resurrected from the dead with that light, what do they call it? Resurrection of the dead, and then a few ayahs ablaze with light, a few ayahs or an ayah ahead of that. He proved that all of those illusions of Rome were incorrect regarding life and death. So they asked for some type of miracle in previous chapters, and it wasn't so much that being resurrected from the dead was a miracle, but he proved that they were living in an illusion. He proved that there is infinite life when you are one with Allah. So the resurrection of the dead, the fleshly form or leaving the flesh, the elevated state or the higher tone that you reach in meditation. And then also when you come home to your government and you're resurrected as a citizen instead of property. So those are the forms of resurrection from the dead that
I was thinking about it in perspective. Gratitude.
Islam. And gratitude, Sister Cami, for that drawing. Praise be to Allah for that grand measure. See, we have a grand degree of understanding when it comes to resurrection over here. You know, we're talking about going all the way back to the time of ancient Kemet and just looking at it right now. We can apply that. We can make that applicable to us now. You know, it has to do with a raising of the consciousness. And who can raise us but one that is more exalted than we are? Again, you have to reflect upon the fact that Prophet Noble Drew Ali's attribute is Ali, the Most High, Al-Ali. You see? Most elevated in consciousness amongst us. Wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life. The hand is symbolic to the mind, so who you think it is that's raising you up? Who do you think it is that's pulling you up into the divinity, into the height, the hand clasp of unity? Praise be to Allah. All right, is there any other more who would like to come forward and give their portion? The floor is still open. We still going, Moorish kin. Islam.
Islam.
Islamism, my brother. What have you to say?
Islam. I am Divine Minister Face Bail, Coma Consulate. Let me rise in perfect praise, and all praise, honor, and glory to our Father God Allah, our illustrious Prophet and High Street Abdul Ali. I give honor to Act 1, our flag, inside, emblems with things as multi-4, and everything that is Moorish. And honors to the class tonight, and the subject matter on the floor. And I was looking at the chapter of study, you know, for this cycle. And it say Claudius and Juliet, his wife, lived on the Palatine in Rome. They were the servants of Tiberius, but they had been in Galilee, had walked with Yehoshua by the sea, had heard his words and seen his power, and they believed that he was Yehoshua made manifest. Now Claudius and his wife were on the Tiber in a little boat. A storm swept from the sea, and the boat was wrecked, and Claudius and his wife were sinking down to death. And Yehoshua came and took them by the hands and said, Claudius and Juliet, arise and walk with me upon the waves. And they arose and walked with him upon the waves. 1,000 people saw 3 walk on the waves and saw them reach the land, and they were all amazed. And Yehoshua said, you men of Rome, I am the resurrection and the life. They that are dead shall live, and many shall live, will never die. And I thought that was very significant, dealing with not only in relation to the self, but also in relation to the resurrection of our people. Due to a lack of knowledge, ignorance, and different things like that. You know, just even, and that's only because one studies the self. So, you know, these significant terms in our Moorish Holy Quran, because this is a living word that, you know, is brought to us by a prophet. They're keys and they're revelations, you know, because when it talks about the ways and different things like that, and then you understand where or what they exercise to exercise slavery, right? Understanding the admiralty and maritime, you know, all of that, and the names of, you know, the false labels and everything like that they utilize. This shows, you know, that when understanding this, because it mentioned about understanding this is keys and that unlock chambers in our minds, in our spirits, in our souls, and even in our acts and our deeds, to free ourselves, because this is that power that exerts itself for the individual at the will of his user. And us being who we are, knowing who we are, we have a duty and a responsibility, and you sense that on the inside of yourself. You sense a form of responsibility of knowing. you know, and then having enough love in the heart that even when, you know, ones play ignorant or whatever, still having that love to, you know what, do the right thing, you know. So, man, this is a grand chapter of study, what the prophet brought to us, understanding what we have, you know, as far as our divine constitution, as far as our most holy Quran, and even, you know, even just our grand body, and even having enough love for the self, you know, and, man, it's grand, you know. So I was just looking at that, man, and it just stuck out to me because it's speaking it right there, it's showing, you know, and then understanding, raising it to the higher tone, being able to see these things and articulate it, you know, to save the self, but at the same time, too, you know, those around you. So, you know, gratitude for the measure. Peace and love, family.
Islam. Gratitude for the measure. I want to give a drawing, you know, in closing this particular class. And this drawing is coming from the exegesis of the Quran and the commentary and reflections. And in this particular drawing, it states the prophets of Allah are spiritual physicians. They restore sight to those who have lost spiritual vision, hearing to those who are spiritually deaf, and life to those who are spiritually dead. Holy Quran, Surah 8, Ayat 24. Then it states, and also 13 to 15, it says further, it says references to this also includes that they need not a physician, but they are sick, and they are quoting Matthew 13, well, Matthew 9 and 12. It says in Yehoshua's message to John the Baptist, the blind receive their sight, and the lame walk, and the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, and the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. They quote Matthew 11 and 5. It says the concluding words show that the sick, lame, and blind belong to the same category as those poor in heart. The Holy Quran speaks of the blind and the deaf frequently, but it never means those who have lost the physical senses of seeing and hearing. So the words, and I quicken the dead by the authority of Allah, do not mean that Jesus or Yehoshua literally brought the dead to life. Those who are biologically dead never are restored to life in this world. Such a belief is opposed to the whole Quranic teaching, Surah 2, Ayat 28, and a couple of more surahs that's named here. And see also Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah. The use of the description of the dead and of their being raised to life is used frequently in the spiritual sense. We read in the Holy Quran, "O you who believe, return." Yeah, it says, respond to Allah and his messenger with what he calls you with, and that which will give you life. It says, and again, he who was lifeless, and to whom we gave life, we have provided him light, whereby he moves among the people. The duty of the prophets is to bring to life those who are spiritually dead. So this is a powerful demonstration here. And that's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali did. He resurrected our people from a state of being not only spiritually, but mentally dead. Now, being spiritually and mentally dead can ultimately lead to a physical death. And ain't no coming back from that. But if one is able to heed, they can be resurrected from the spiritual and mental death, which will prolong their lives. And thus, this has to do with honoring your mother and your father, your ancient mothers and fathers, that your days may be long upon this earth land, which the great God Allah had given you. Now, we say mother and father is really nationality and divine creed. So if you don't honor your nationality, if you don't honor your divine creed, well, the prophets say we dead in the head anyway. And if we ain't careful, we'll be laying, up on a few flower beds, pushing up some daisies, as a result of our own ignorance. And we're just speaking in general when it comes to dealing with our people. The way we live and what we receive, a lot of people don't know hatred kills the cells in the body. So if you try to raise one to a higher state of a higher tone, that is in this state, the fix can't be solved until the individual is willing to receive the antidote, you see, in order to heal them. You can't heal somebody that don't want to be healed, Moorish King. And you can't raise somebody that want to be dead. So we just say gratitude, Islamism without the schism. And we love you. And at this time, we're going to go to the officials. And we're going to call for first our sister, Alseta Moonel, of the Ra Moonel tribe, Assistant Grand National Secretary of the State. Are you there, sister?
Islam.
Islamism.
Gratitude, call me forth. First, let me rise and give all praise to Allah. Now, honor to our Prophet Nabi Ali. Honors to our Moorish government of muted and our citizens. Honors to our national unmuted Americans, Dr. Shadu Muhaji Sheffield, we bring you both a grand Moorish perspective on live stream and on our conference calls this evening. Honors to you also for opening our conference call according to law. Honors to our goddess and queen, Sister Nesru L, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter of the week. And honors to all my Moorish kin on our call this evening, and on our live stream, for coming forth in support and to give their measure for tonight's class. Honors on our topic. In flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. The essence quickens. This essence, quickened by the Holy Breath, will raise the substance of the body to a higher tone. Islam. Now, I listened to measures brought forth. Something that you said dealing with the tone made me pay attention. Islam for 1 minute. Islam, gratitude more. So the word tone, I looked it up because our prophet always told us dealing with tone. And tone has been known to deal with music and deals with vibration. And so when I think about vibration, I think about harmony or harmonizing or harmonization. So this lets me know that when one deals with the Holy Breath, that truth brought us back to life. We woke up those dry bones that were dying. When our prophet came, he woke us up with the truth. And so this truth is what we need, or what we needed and still do, to manifest and bring forth that God within, that God self. If the prophet hadn't woken us up, we would still be what some call it in the valley of dry bones. Think about brothers and sisters that made their transition and never knew they had a prophet, never knew that they had a nationality. They actually believed they were black, Negro, colored, Ethiopian, all these misnomers that have nothing to do with a nationality. Because Ethiopia itself is not the original name. The original name of Ethiopia is Abyssinia. And so therefore, Ethiopia means something divided, which is why Africa is in massive sin right now, because that's not even his true name either. That's a Roman general's name also. So they have, through the names and the misnomers, they have totally traumatized our people, us as a people. And so now that we're getting back on the path that our ancestors left clearly cut for us through our prophet, Il-Hashri Abdul-Ali, bringing forth this truth, this holy bread. Now we can get back on the path that he left clearly cut. He's resurrected the dead because he's brought us back to life. So now we can think so that we could save ourselves. Now we can think so that we can free ourselves. Now we can think so that we can love ourselves. And he tells us we must learn to love instead of hate. In loving ourselves, we can love each other, we can love our people, we can love other nations of the earth, in spite of what has been done. Because we understand that the only way to heal is true love. The only way our brothers and sisters are going to learn how to unfold and be the God that our forefathers knew that we're capable of being, even though we've been through all the mire, we've been through all the death, we've seen all this nonsense that has happened. They knew that we will be able to what? Transcend and rise above all of this. So they sent us a prophet, Il-Hashri Abdul-Ali. And our prophet knew that once he gave us, or should I say, once he breathed that holy breath on us, when he gave us that tone of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, he knew that it would wake us up. He knew that he could exhume us out of that Roman yoken law, that grave that it had us buried in 5 times deeper. So he had to come with 5 times more power. And he still had to say that we are mean, stiff-necked set of people, and they never did anything except by the point of a sword. Most of our people don't even realize that a point of a sword is real. They don't realize that that point of a sword is the denationalization of us as a people, stripped of our birthright. That was, what's the word? That was, I'll just say, perpetrated by a whole lot of people that had nothing to do with our bloodline. Okay? So, stolen legacy, that's the word. Stolen. So much stolen that they received reparation and they were part of the problem. That enslaved the whole, helped to enslave us as a people. But yet they got reparation first. Okay? So our prophet knew that beyond all of this, muck and mire, once he gave us the truth, he could help in the raising of our bodies to a higher tone. Because he knew the substance, our makeup, our chemical makeup, the chemistry within would change. Our molecular structuring would change because we're loving. That love has a tone to it, has a harmonic tone to it that brings us back in unity with that deific will, back in sync, in synchronization, all of that. This is why we love music, because the music puts us in a whole different mind frame, even if we're going through a lot of stress. It still helps us to change and feel a little better. So in that feeling of a little better, we begin to come back to the happy tone. So this is important. This is essential. That's why we're on these conference calls, because it helps us to feel and heal It heals the soul, which the 5 actions of the soul need healing. Because if it wasn't for a prophet, we won't be able to use reasoning. We wouldn't be able to use our will, because our will had become sluggish, which means we gave up on life. We lost hope. And some of our people still have to be resurrected. And that's what he tells us. If we are to be vanguards of this Moorish American theocratic government that our prophet Ilhashis Abdullah Ali established for us, then we must know how to succor to our people's needs. We must know how to answer their questions. We must not give in to the nonsense when they're acting under that Negro, black, and colored mentality. We must know how to relate to them, no matter what they come with. Don't let them drag us down when we're supposed to be uplifting, fallen humanity. So all of these things are part of our unfoldment as a nation of people. We must embrace our people so that we can meet them where they're at, so that they don't think that we think. Even though we know it's their thought pattern, but the perception is everything. So that they don't think that we think that we're better. We have to always make sure we understand where they're coming from. And so the love that our prophet brought to us and gave to us to uplift us, we have to reflect that to our another brother and sister, so that they could embrace that light, that truth, that peace, that freedom, and justice, which we know is on the manifest. Gratitude for calling me forward. Much peace and love to all my Moorish in Islamism.
In Islam, we give honors to you, Sister Offset, for that measure. You know, and in the breath of the vibration, you know, we don't even want them to think we better. Islam, okay. Gratitude, Grand Mufti. Yeah, basically want to rise and give honors to Offset. Rob Moonell, Grand National Secretary of the State, we give honors to her for that drawing. And what we were getting ready to say is that, yeah, we give honors, we concur. We definitely want to raise our people to a higher tone, not to the extent of what we are even trying to vibrate to make them feel that we are better. We want them to know that we better. That means that we in the higher self, because in the Grand Quran, Allah said he made us the best. You see, to rise up and evolve from humanity. But he said, yet it is we who abase ourselves to the lowest of the low. You know, so we got to have a higher standard to move by, and that's the prophet. And if I'm imitating the prophet, you imitating the prophet, we imitating the prophet, he Ali, he the most high, then we going to share power with him. Islam. Okay, Grand Mufti. Come on in here, brother Dr. Kanchu Mark Herube. Islamism without the schism.
Islam. Gratitude, Grand Wolf, common forth. We rise, first and foremost, giving all thanksgiving, adoration, worship, and praise to our Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, the most beneficent and the most wise, and we give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet, our prophet, the last prophet in these days, and in these times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the savior of humanity. We give honor to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honor to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live, according to Act 6. We give honor to the officials of that government, our divine ministers and swift angels, our mufti, our royal council, our secretaries. We give honor to our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honor to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, the Holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhument of the Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honor to you, National Assistant Grand Sheikh. That's right. Sadu Amiti Ametu, Chefs, we have to bring forth, this grand Moorish perspective this evening. And we give honor to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. And we continue to give honors where they're due, and honoring all true and divine prophets. And yes, we give honor to our ancestors, the they have come before us, leading the way, and we are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. And praise the Lord for the resurrection, that it is a fact, that we look at new life being brought forth to the manifest, a second chance, just like what our prophet has done for us. He said, I forgave you for everything you've done before. I came to you for, you came into this demonstration. I've learned the truth about who you are. That's a resurrection. That's where everyone gets a new life, a chance to make right, to choose the right decision instead of the left, to choose the right decision instead of the wrong. To raise one's tone to a higher vibration because you already lived that life on the low. With dealing with the lower aspects of thought and development. But here we're dealing with wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so we have to raise our vibration from the low part of our thinking into the high conscious part of our being. And there's new life in that. And so all of us go through that, persecution, crucifixion with the people who think they've known us for prior life and, limit you to the ideals that they have of you until you, carry that burden long enough to show that you have resurrected yourself from the old way of doing things into a new form of clean and pure thought pattern and action. And that's the blessing. I praise the Lord for sending a prophet who gave me another chance, who gave me a new starting point where, as they said, for you have forgiveness for all debts settled. And I can start from the credit side of life and not be in the hole from which to operate, trying to catch up on their karmic debt. And this is part of, as you see it, the grand drawing that we're getting out of this lesson is that the wise is the one who can show how to transmute a carnal flesh to flesh divine is the image or likeness, or the example, I should say, of what one is supposed to be demonstrating. Like, you can only, fill yourself with the vices of life so much and then realize that they don't take you anywhere. And it's not until you get the understanding then to say, okay, well, then what is going to be able to take me to a new level? And that's raising one's vibration, they tone. And then you can see the utmost form and function being displayed, connecting yourself with your Father God Allah. And that is truly something that one could invest their energy and time into and be fulfilled at the end of the day. Is in bettering themselves. So gratitude for the class and gratitude to you, Moorish America, and sympathizers and supporters for being here with us and giving us your time, attention, and respect. We love you. It's always peace.
Islam and peace to you as well. National Grand Mufti, we give honors to your grand man for being on the front line. Islamism to you and the tribe as well. Praise be to Allah. Islam. Well, all right. Let us call forth our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Hatshepsut Rakat Ma'at Anpu, Tutankhamun Bay. Islam, Goddess and Queen.
Islam, Grand Class, Dr. Shaheed Islam, Moorish Ken, and family. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our Prophet, Noble Jura Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, the angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish Ken. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me,
Giving a special honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America, Dr. Shedwa Menti El Mohamed Chef Suel, for opening our meeting according to law, and also hosting a Grand Moorish Perspectives class this evening. Giving honor to our National Grand Secretary, State of Indiana, Dr. Sayanati Nuhetharu L, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. Our subject matter is Flesh of Man. There is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the Holy Breath, will raise the substance of the body to higher tones. Much honor to all of my Moorish kin and family online for your listening in, and also your participation in the class. Dr. Shahi, it's been a grand class as always. So many keys that you brought forth. And I was just looking at it from the aspect of, prior to the advent of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, where would I be? It's just a blessing and an honor to be here in a Moorish American government. There were so many degrees that I had no knowledge of, thinking, not even realizing the fact that one had been indoctrinated by the West, thinking like the West, following after European gods, Europe, whom I knew nothing of. With the advent of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, just the fact and letting me know that I am a spirit and a part of the great God Allah was a paradigm shift for itself. And being children of the great God family, you've got to recognize the fact that you've got the essence of God within yourselves. And we give honor to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali for raising us from the level of the dead, being mentally dead in the head. And this is the status that the Prophet stated that his people were in. Even though shackles and chains have been removed from us, as far as the physical level was concerned, our mindset was still on lockdown, So when you don't realize your connection to your source of divinity, then this opens the door for all kinds of problems, unrest, misery, death, thinking that you are a victim to circumstance, etc., but nothing could be further from the truth. So when you look at the fact that the Creator has prepared us for this marvelous journey of divinity, and the thing about it is, if you prepare to go on a trip, let's say a 10-hour trip, and you're traveling by car, what have you, you want to make sure you check the vitals in the car, make sure, gas is right, the tires look good, snacks in the car, especially if you have children and things of that nature, in case there's any accident or what have you, first aid kit, just certain things that you need to have to prepare one for a special journey. Well, the Prophet brought us everything that it takes to save a nation. All he's telling us to do is take it and save yourself. So this means that we've got to get out of the demonstration of wanting to be hand-fed and take responsibility for our actions, take responsibility for the consciousness within ourselves, and begin to study, go within. Here in the West, it tells you everything about going outside of the self or getting taken off delusions, illusions, things that pacify the mind, to keep you sleeping, buried back in that shallow grave. But our Prophet came to come out of that shallow grave of ignorance and a state of unconsciousness and be who you were designed to be by the Creator. So in recognizing the fact that the Prophet brought us everything, this means that you have a means and mode of transportation in which you are fully equipped. So no matter what condition or circumstance you come upon, you are able to deal with in accordance with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And this in itself is a blessing, because when you don't know where you come from, where you're going, when you don't know how to maneuver or even be in accord with the universal laws of things, then you'll find yourself getting beaten and bashed at every turn in life. And this is what leads to despair and anguish and things of that nature. So we are truly blessed here in our Moorish American government. And I tell you, Moorish Ken, Every day I am learning something. I thought that when I left out of high school, left out of college, or what have you, I didn't have to deal with books anymore. But nothing could be further from the truth. And so when we learn how to get back into dealing with the research, if it's something that we come across we don't understand, instead of wanting to be what we're told, when you do the research for yourself, then in essence, that becomes yours, and no one can take that from you. And when you get the revelation that you are a spirit and a part of the great God Allah, and that all you've got to do is keep it above the neck or maintain that state of divine love, so that you can activate your God power, then, what else is there more that men needed to know? So this has been a grand class. Much gratitude to you, Dr. Shaheed, for grand measure, and much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. Islam.
Islamism, Grand National Secretary of State, we give honors to you for that grand drawing. And Islamism without the schism, and we just honor everything it is that you do and all that you will do. And it's just a grand drawing. Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. But let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Acton Pert M. Heru, Tutankhamun Bay. When it comes to resurrection, we know he know about all that, and even those who thought they can resurrect something. Islam, where you at, Chairman?
Man, I wish a member would.
Islam, Grand man.
Islam. Rise your praise to Allah and honor Prophet Noble Ali. Still much honor to Noble Ali for bringing us the Moorish Jamaat. Everything that it would take for us to save ourselves as a nation. I mean, he brought us our own government, our own divine constitution, our own God, our history, everything. And more, it's an honor and a blessing just to know who made you. Just to know where you're going tomorrow. Oh, did I say tomorrow? I'm sorry. You had to leave today, wouldn't you? So the honor and the blessing more is to give praises to Allah for having the wisdom to hand down to you from your forefathers so that you can carry on with your own sons and daughters today, with your own grands today, with your own fans today. It's just an honor and blessing, because that's why it's so important for us to know about the ministry of death. Because it's impossible to know about the holy ministry of death, and you don't know nothing about life. So the thing about it is, Noble Ali has brought all these divine blessings to us, these honorable lessons to us. We are so divinely blessed. Boys, it's just, I just want to thank you for being here. We just appreciate your wisdom and your love. Islam and peace without the schism.
Islamism, that's that Aliism. We give honors to our Grand National Chairman for making it plain, and being on the manifest and the first to be exhumed and exhume us as a nation. Yeah, I said it. And so in that thought, we got another jewel to drop on you as we go forth to our sheep. And this is powerful, Moorish kin. And this is coming from the same measure I read from earlier, but this is from the 4 divine graces of mercy. Like justice, mercy, love, and right. It says, when the darkness of disbelief and ignorance prevail on earth, and the night when it becomes dark and still, that divine compassion and his eternal mercy raises a person. Y'all listen to this now. Raises a person, one who is blessed with a divine discourse and his light. And with this light, he dispels darkness and creates a new world. Did I say Prophet Noble Ali? They are those whom have perceived this light, and those who are gifted with insight, whose hearts are clean, who are prepared for this reception. The most honored of this group are the prophets, their followers, apostles, and the righteous ones who are the true servants of Allah. They excel above all the rest. Many of them are reviled in the earth, but are commended by Allah in the heavens. When Allah's servant discards his own desires, empties his passion, is centered in Allah and his worship, and glorifies him with all the particles of his body, then the heart of such a one becomes a new alam, a new world of its own, one of the alam al-shagir, the microcosmos. So this is what we mean when we talk about raising the body to a higher tone. It says you may think that your journey comes to an end when you die, that the path before you die is closed, and that the time has now come for you to take shelter in the silent obscurity of your grave. However, this is not true. The grave is not the end. Rather, it is the commencement of the unfolding of soul. So, Hafez Shiraz, the great Persian mystic, said, if just a little dust and water mixed in this bowl can yield such exquisite scent, sights, music, whirling forms, what unspeakable wonders must wait the commencement of the unfolding of infinite numbers of petals that is the soul. Islam. So at this time, we're going to call for our national grand sheikh, Dr. Serapis Amin Rael. Islamism, you there, sheikh?
Islam.
Islam.
Man, I'm telling you, this has been a grand exposition, and to all scientists and doctors that are on call this evening, thank you for your attention and participation and your thoughts, the wisdom that's being brought forth from mouths of ones who used to walk the path of godhood, came into this marvelous light we call earth light at the advantage of those who thought that they had crippled, maimed, and tamed us. We are here under solemn oath of redemption, salvation, honor that we possess by being the thought of Allah made manifest. We talked about this the other day, so it's not strange that Sister Grand Chief has set this demonstration out, because death is no end of it, man. And one say, how you know? Because prophecy is those who are with me 2,000 years ago are with me today. Those that were against me 2,000 years ago against me today. When we woke up, we found ourselves in another man's house. It wasn't the house that my father built. And I immediately found my way home. And my brothers and sisters was waiting on me when I walked to the door and knocked. And I was free when I knocked the first time. So we want to give honors to our Sister Grand Sheikh and all of the adepts and ones who gave us a clear understanding about the resurrection, because the resurrection is a fact. And so one don't know what they're talking about. They guess. We've seen the ones in the science of being dead, and we see it. Chairman told me one day that the dead bury the dead. You know, we live to live it. And we once come from that level. And we had devils with us, but we know how to subdue and capture them. So this has been a grand demonstration. Thank you, Sheikh, for checking it out with that fire, clarity, and authority. In the book of remembrance, let us go back and recall those things that we are made in the image and the likeness of our Father God Allah. Peace, love, and love to you all, and your love to each other. It's
January 15, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that must end all radical, agitated speeches while they work in their homes or on the streets. We offer peace and not destruction. Stop blasting your God at UAP as it causes confusion. Remember, your God is for your salvation. Faith you obey these orders will be of severe consequences. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold relationships toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from the life of their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down for them by the prophet. They lose confidence in the prophet. They should turn in their guard and button. Just went into the affairs and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Jew Ali. The prophet is not right. The government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to our Moors and measure that do their part of protecting the prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet to the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by our prophet Noble Jew Ali. This divine warning is the supreme laws now and will be enforced by the said government hereby. Islam, Islam, Islam. I hold the covenant of the Asiatic nation. We are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the rest of one mother has given his son. At the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with our brothers. Your peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity, and refer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So tell the fortunes of our prophet, continue to support this whole race, and this care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is to close according to Act 2, Part 9 Constitution, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Go in peace, Moors. Praise Allah for you. The March Sunday School. See you there. Long live.
Great class, great class.
Islam,
Grand class, grand class.
Islam. We love you, Moors. Peace and love. Peace and love. Islam. Islam, like our brother Ramoon El used to say, the omnipotence of man.
Is no longer being recorded.
We love you, Moorish kin. Peace and love.
Goodbye.